Hey YouTube, what's going on? It's your boy TriniFX here, back with another trading recap. So today's the 8th of July, and today was an okay day. And the reason why I say that, I didn't follow my rules in the morning period. Um, we took 3 trades today, 2 on my personal account and 1 on my funded account. So it was 1 loss, 1 win on my personal account, and then I got a win on my funded account. So before we get into it, let me just show you the screenshots of the execution. This is the first trade that I took. There was a loss. I was going long, and you could see I got stopped out. And this was the other trade that I took on my personal account, scaled in and then exited. I was trailing very aggressively. Now today we did have FOMC minutes at 2 p.m. today. So let's see the P&L for today on my funded account. So let's get into it, and let me just walk you through the trades today and my thought process. So starting on a higher time frame, we could see yesterday we traded lower. Well, if you watch my last video, you'll see this is where I took the short. And as Asia opened, we traded higher up into this bearish fair value gap. And then we started to just trade lower. London, we had this big displacement after retracing into this SIBI here on the 1 hour chart. So I drew out this 1 hour fair value gap because sometimes price, as it did today, it found some resistance there. Noting, however, we had this big bearish fair value gap. So I was being cautious coming into market open. This shaded area that I have here, this is a fair value gap. It's a weekly fair value gap. So I was looking to see, if we found some support on the weekly time frame to either send price higher or at least to take out London high. So going into a 15-minute time frame, this was the 1 hour fair value gap. This candle was not here before 9:30, so it was just trading in the upper half of this 15-minute SIBI. So I marked off my fair value gaps, which was the hour, because these did not form as yet. Well, this one was formed. So I marked this fair value gap off, and I waited. As market opened, we saw an immediate pump higher, so I dropped down into my 5-minute chart to see if I can see things a little clearer. And we could see this was a SIBI on a 5-minute chart. So either, even though I wanted price to take out London high, I know we had to get through this bearish fair value gap here on the 5-minute, as well as this hourly fair value gap. So I waited, price rallied up, and as it was rallying, and I saw this big, strong bullish candle, that's when I dropped to my 1-minute time frame to see if I could have gotten an entry. So market opened, we rallied, I marked off my first presented fair value gap. So when it hit this 5-minute SIBI, I was looking to see what the reaction was, and price consolidated for a while here. Initially, once price inversed this first presented fair value gap, I was anticipating lower prices. However, we found this displacement candle here, so I waited. If I was to go long, I would have taken my long after I saw a confirmation entry, and for me, a confirmation entry is price retracing back into a fair value gap and closing above the candle. So I would have gone long on the close of this candle. However, we were still resting within this hourly fair value gap. And how I class fair value gaps, the higher the time frame, to me, is the stronger it is. So I'm looking to see a 1-minute fair value gap push price through an hourly fair value gap. So I waited. So eventually we see price started to displace after spending some time in this 1 hour fair value gap. We did have a bearish market structure shift. We made a high, low, higher high, and we broke. So if I was looking for shorts at this time, I would have looked for my entry anywhere around here. Keeping in mind, this 15-minute fair value gap formed. All right, so I marked that off because those are the things that I looked for. So I still had my first presented fair value gap here stretched out because price tends to react very, very precise around that level. So I dropped back to my 15-minute chart as I didn't really find an entry there. Once price retraced into this 15-minute fair value gap, I dropped back to my 1-minute time frame to see if I could have gotten along. So we saw price trade down, trade back up into this SIBI, also respecting first presented fair value gap, displaced lower, and we saw it begin to rally. So my market structure shift would have happened here. If I just mark it out for you, I would have waited for price to close above this candle here, and it did so on this wick. So this morning was a little tricky. See how wiki price action is here. So once price traded into here, took the initial liquidity from here, closed above, that was my market structure shift. Once price started to trade away, that is where I took my first entry on my personal account. So I took my entry, I had my stop right below the candle, and I really was targeting Asia high, London high, sorry. We could see price began to rally, but again, we found a lot of resistance at this hourly fair value gap. Unfortunately, I did not move my stop to break even, and price traded down, and I got stopped out for a loss. So this was a loss, a losing trade here this morning. No big deal. I waited to see where exactly price was going. So if price was respecting this SIBI on a 1 hour, I was looking to see how price began to trade after that. So after continuing to find some resistance here, I monitored price, because if price was to go higher, it would have respected this initial BC, but as we could see, price traded down into it, inversed it, and began to consolidate there. So I was monitoring it to see, could it give me an entry as it retraced back into this inversion fair value gap, as it traded away and closed below my first presented fair value gap. I still wasn't confident to take the trade because we had this 15-minute bullish fair value gap here. So I waited. It traded back into this 1-minute fair value gap. So once we traded away, it closed, and I saw it respecting the first presented fair value gap. Once it closed below, I got my position ready, and I got in there. Stops was above that candle high, and I was targeting this low. So if you go back to the beginning of the video, you'll see my execution. That is where I got out for this trade. So this was a loss, this was a win, and so I recouped the loss on my personal account. So this morning was a very choppy morning for me. I couldn't get an exact read on price, and one could say I FOMO'd, but we stuck to our analysis, and I waited. So I jumped back to my 15-minute time frame, and I just allowed price. Eventually price did trade lower, and I marked off this bullish fair value gap on the 15-minute time frame in a discount, and this was the candle that traded down, just touching the high of the weekly fair value gap, and it began to trade away. So I said, okay, we're into the 11:30 time, so let's drop to my 1 minute and see if we could frame an entry. So I wasn't in a hurry to re-enter any trade after I was fortunate enough, and I have to say fortunate, to recoup the loss on my personal account. I jumped to my funded account to see if we can get an entry. So price came down, my market structure shift would have been up here. But this was the high that sent price lower. We traded higher. There was no confirmation entry there. We retraced. We retested the 15-minute bullish fair value gap once more, and we began to trade higher. So once price traded up, and I saw it respecting this 1 minute, I could have entered there. That was a confirmation entry. But I saw this is a 5-minute SIBI that formed. So I really wanted price to inverse that 5-minute SIBI. That would have told me I was definitely on side. But I was just monitoring price. Price came down, traded away, found some resistance on this SIBI. There's a small fair value gap here. Once that got respected and price began to trade away, that is where I took my entry. And let me see if I could turn on my execution so you guys could see it. 1 second. There we go. So I went long in this candle here, and I took partials as we came close to the first presented fair value gap, because this was the initial target, and then we wanted to see if we could revisit London high. So on a 1-to-1, I took the majority of my position off, and then as price traded higher, I moved my stop, trail it, and you can see I got stopped out on this retracement here. So this was the trade on my funded account that netted me a little over $1,000. So in all, today did end on a profitable note. However, it wasn't the best day. I just couldn't get a proper read on price in the morning. I had to wait until later down in the lunch hour, and I was able to manage that long on my funded account. So guys, that was the trade recap for today. It wasn't my best day. It was a very, very stressful day. However, we still managed to come out green. And I'll talk to you guys again tomorrow. Like, share, subscribe if you have not subscribed, and I'll chat with you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.